The day the sky turned red was the day Earth changed forever. It started like any other Tuesday morning. People went to work, kids went to school, and life moved on as usual. But at exactly 10:17 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time, every screen on the planet went black. Then, a message appeared. Humans of Earth, your planet now belongs to the Zarnaxian Empire. Resist, and you will be destroyed. For a few seconds, the world stood still. Then, chaos erupted. In New York, people ran out of their offices, looking up at the sky. In Tokyo, millions of phones buzzed with emergency alerts. In Lagos, drivers abandoned their cars in the middle of the road, causing massive traffic jams. World leaders scrambled to make sense of the situation. The UN Security Council called an emergency meeting. Military bases around the globe went on high alert. But before anyone could form a proper response, they came. Massive ships, each the size of a small city, appeared in the skies over major capitals. Their design was unlike anything humans had ever seen. All sharp angles and glowing purple lines. They hovered silently, casting long shadows over the panicking crowds below. From these ships came smaller craft, sleek and fast. They zoomed down to street level, carrying troops in shiny black armor. The Zarnaxian soldiers were tall, with 4 arms and scaly blue skin. They carried weapons that looked like something out of a sci-fi movie. The invasion had begun. At first, Earth's militaries tried to fight back. Fighter jets took to the skies, only to be swatted down like flies. Tanks rolled out, their shells bouncing harmlessly off the Zarnaxian ship's shields. Even nuclear weapons proved useless. The aliens simply teleported the missiles into deep space before they could detonate. It seemed hopeless. The Zarnaxians had technology centuries ahead of Earth's. They could have wiped out humanity in a day if they wanted to. But that wasn't their goal. They wanted Earth's resources, and for that, they needed humans alive, as slaves. But the Zarnaxians had made a big mistake. They thought humans would give up easily. They thought wrong. In the streets of every city, people fought back. They didn't have advanced weapons, but they had courage and creativity. In Paris, chefs threw boiling oil at alien troops. In Rio, soccer fans used their stadium's floodlights to blind enemy ships. In Mumbai, Bollywood stunt drivers ran circles around Zarnaxian vehicles, causing them to crash. These weren't organized attacks. They were spontaneous acts of defiance, and while they didn't do much damage, they sent a clear message. Earth wouldn't go down without a fight. The alien commander, General Zork, watched from his flagship with growing frustration. He had conquered a dozen worlds before, and none had given him this much trouble. These humans were supposed to be primitive, easy prey. Instead, they were proving to be a real pain in all 4 of his arms. Increase the pressure, Zork ordered his troops. Show them the price of resistance. The Zarnaxians stepped up their attacks. They leveled entire city blocks. They rounded up thousands of humans and shipped them off to labor camps. They thought this would break the human spirit. They were wrong again. For every human captured, 2 more joined the resistance. People who had never held a gun in their lives became guerrilla fighters overnight. Scientists worked around the clock, looking for weaknesses in alien tech. Hackers launched cyberattacks on Zarnaxian systems. And through it all, hope spread. Because for the first time in history, all of humanity was united against a common enemy. Old rivalries were forgotten. Nations that had been at each other's throats for centuries now fought side by side. As the first day of the invasion came to an end, General Zork looked down at the planet. He thought he had conquered. Fires burned in every major city. Millions were dead or captured. By all accounts, Earth should have been on its knees. But it wasn't. As night fell, Zork saw something that chilled his blue blood. All across the planet, in windows and on rooftops, tiny lights flickered to life. Candles, flashlights, cell phones, millions of small lights defying the darkness. Zork realized then that this wouldn't be the easy victory he had promised the Galactic Council. These humans, these supposedly primitive creatures, had a strength he hadn't counted on. A strength that couldn't be measured by technology or weapons. The invasion had begun, but so had Earth's fight back, and unknown to Zork, to the Zarnaxian Empire, and to the entire Galactic Council, they had just awakened a force that would soon shake the very foundations of the galaxy. The war for Earth had only just begun. 2 weeks had passed since the Zarnaxians invaded Earth. The initial shock was over. Now, a new phase of the war had begun. In the ruins of what was once downtown Los Angeles, a group of survivors huddled in an underground parking garage. They were a mix of ordinary people, teachers, truck drivers, office workers. But they weren't ordinary anymore. They were the resistance. Sarah Chen, once a high school science teacher, now led this group. She looked at the faces around her, tired but determined. "Okay, people," she said, "we've got work to do." Their mission was simple but dangerous. A Zarnaxian patrol would pass nearby in an hour. The plan was to ambush them and steal their weapons. It was a risk, but they needed those alien guns. As they prepared, Sarah thought about how much had changed. The Zarnaxians controlled most major cities now, but they couldn't be everywhere at once. In the gaps between their patrols, humans were organizing. The resistance wasn't just in Ley. All over the world, similar groups were forming. They communicated using old radios and Morse code, staying off the internet to avoid alien detection. Slowly, they were learning the enemy's weaknesses. One big discovery came from a teenager in Tokyo. Hiroshi Tanaka had been a gaming nerd before the invasion. Now he was a hero. Hiroshi figured out that Zarnaxian comms used a frequency similar to old AM radio. With some tinkering, he managed to intercept their messages. The info Hiroshi gathered was invaluable. Resistance groups now knew patrol schedules, weak points in alien defenses, and sometimes even Zarnaxian battle plans. But the aliens weren't stupid. They knew humans were fighting back. In response, they got crueler. They started destroying whole towns as punishment for resistance activities. It was meant to break human spirit. Instead, it made people fight harder. In a secret lab under the Swiss Alps, Dr. Emma Larson worked day and night. She led a team of scientists from around the world, all focused on one goal: understanding Zarnaxian tech. They had managed to capture some alien devices. At first, the tech seemed like magic, but slowly they began to crack its secrets. Emma's team discovered that Zarnaxian weapons used a form of plasma energy. If they could disrupt that energy, they might have a chance. Meanwhile, in the Amazon rainforest, an unlikely alliance formed. Indigenous tribes, whose ancestors had resisted invaders for centuries, now taught modern soldiers how to fight in the jungle. Together, they turned the dense forest into a death trap for alien patrols. But the biggest breakthrough came from an unexpected place. In a small town in Kenya, a young girl named Amani made a startling discovery. She noticed that her father's old truck, which ran on diesel, still worked fine. But newer cars with electronic systems were dead. Word spread quickly. The Zarnaxians had some kind of tech that disabled modern electronics, but older, simpler machines still worked. Suddenly, antique cars, mechanical typewriters, and analog radios became priceless. This knowledge changed the way the resistance fought. They started using old tech in clever ways. Bicycle messengers carried news between resistance cells. World War I aeroplanes, long retired to museums, took to the skies again for recon missions. Back in Ley, Sarah's team waited in the shadows. The Zarnaxian patrol was approaching. Hearts pounding, weapons ready, they prepared to strike. The fight was brief but fierce. Sarah's team had the element of surprise. They also had something the Zarnaxians didn't expect: homemade EMP devices, courtesy of Dr. Larson's research. The alien weapons sputtered and died, leaving the Zarnaxians defenseless. In minutes, it was over. Sarah's team had captured 3 Zarnaxian soldiers and a cache of alien tech. It was a small victory, but an important one. As they hauled their prisoners back to base, Sarah allowed herself a small smile. The Zarnaxians thought they had won when they took the cities. They didn't understand that Earth's real strength wasn't in its buildings or its technology. It was in its people. All around the world, scenes like this were playing out. Humans were adapting, learning, and fighting back. The Zarnaxians had the advantage in technology and firepower, but humans had something more powerful: the will to survive, to resist, to never give up. General Zork, watching from his orbiting flagship, was starting to realize the magnitude of his mistake. He had expected to find a primitive, easily conquered species. Instead, he had stumbled into a hornet's nest. The resistance was growing stronger every day. And soon, very soon, Earth would strike back in ways the Zarnaxians could never have imagined. The tide was about to turn. 3 months into the Zarnaxian invasion, humanity was holding on by a thread. But that thread was about to become a lifeline. In the heart of London, deep beneath the rubble of what was once MI6 headquarters, a group of international spies turned resistance fighters made a breakthrough. They had captured a high-ranking Zarnaxian officer named Sarl. Sarl was tough. He resisted traditional interrogation methods. But he hadn't counted on the creativity of desperate humans. Dr. Amelia Cortez, a neuroscientist who had been working on brain-computer interfaces before the invasion, had an idea. She rigged up a makeshift mind-reading device using salvaged alien tech and her own pre-invasion research. It wasn't perfect, but it worked. And what they learned from Sarl's mind changed everything. First, they discovered the existence of the Galactic Council. Earth wasn't alone in the universe. Far from it. There were thousands of alien civilizations out there, organized into a massive interstellar government. But the second discovery was even more shocking. The Council had known about Earth for centuries. They had been watching humanity's progress, and they had declared Earth expendable. The Zarnaxian invasion wasn't a random act of conquest. It was a sanctioned operation, approved by the Council. Earth was considered a backwater planet, its people too primitive to join galactic society. So when the Zarnaxians asked for permission to invade, the Council had shrugged and said, "Why not?" This news spread like wildfire through the resistance networks. Humanity's reaction was uniform: rage. In New Delhi, resistance leader Raj Patel summed up the feeling. "They think we're expendable. We'll show them just how wrong they are." The knowledge galvanized the resistance. It wasn't just about saving Earth anymore. It was about proving humanity's worth to a galaxy that had dismissed them. But the discoveries didn't stop there. Sarl's mind held more secrets. The resistance learned about the Council's structure, its major players, and most importantly, its weaknesses. The Galactic Council, for all its advanced technology, was politically fragile. Many species were unhappy with the current leadership. And then came the biggest revelation of all. The reason the Zarnaxians had struggled so much to conquer Earth wasn't just human resilience. It was because Earth itself was special. Buried deep in Earth's core was an element unknown to the rest of the galaxy. This element, which humans had never detected, was the key to faster-than-light travel. The Zarnaxians had come for this element, but they couldn't extract it without destroying the planet, and themselves in the process. This information changed everything. Earth wasn't just fighting for survival now. It was sitting on the most valuable real estate in the galaxy. As this news spread, the nature of the resistance changed. It was no longer just about driving off the Zarnaxians. It was about preparing humanity to take its place on the galactic stage. In secret bases around the world, humans began to plan. They weren't just reverse engineering Zarnaxian tech anymore. They were trying to understand the politics of an entire galaxy. Sarah Chen, now a top resistance leader, stood in front of a global council of survivors. "We've been fighting to save our world," she said. "Now we need to fight to save our future in the stars." The room erupted in cheers. The path ahead was clear. Humanity needed to not only defeat the Zarnaxians, but also make their presence known to the Galactic Council. But how? Earth's technology, even with recent advancements, was still centuries behind the galactic standard. They were outnumbered, outgunned, and completely new to interstellar politics. Yet, as humans had proven time and time again during this invasion, these were just obstacles to overcome. In a hidden facility in the Australian outback, engineers worked tirelessly to build Earth's first faster-than-light communication device. Using the knowledge extracted from Xarl and the unique properties of Earth's core, they were making progress. Their goal: to send a message to the Galactic Council, a message that would shake the foundations of galactic society. As the device neared completion, tension built across the globe. This would be humanity's first step onto the galactic stage, the first chance to show the universe that Earth was not expendable. The fate of the planet, and humanity's future among the stars, hung in the balance. But for the first time since the Zarnaxians arrived, there was real hope. Earth was about to strike back, and the Galactic Council had no idea what was coming. 6 months after the Zarnaxian invasion began, Earth was ready to fight back. The resistance had grown into a global force, armed with reverse-engineered alien tech and a fierce determination to survive. The plan was bold: a coordinated worldwide attack to reclaim Earth's major cities and drive the Zarnaxians off the planet. Operation Thunderstrike, as it was called, began at dawn. In New York, a team led by former Wall Street trader Jack Thompson used hacked Zarnaxian teleporters to appear inside the alien headquarters. The Zarnaxians, caught off guard, didn't stand a chance against the human strike team's surprise attack. Meanwhile, in Tokyo, Hiroshi Tanaka, the teenager who had cracked the Zarnaxian communication codes, now led a team of hackers. They launched a massive cyber attack, disabling Zarnaxian systems across the city. As alien defenses went down, resistance fighters swarmed in. In Cairo, Dr. Fatima Abdul-Rahman, an archaeologist turned resistance leader, used her knowledge of the ancient city's underground tunnels to outmaneuver the alien patrols. Her team emerged from hidden passages, striking the Zarnaxians from unexpected angles. But the biggest surprise came from the skies. For months, in secret bases around the world, humans had been building their own fleet using captured and modified Zarnaxian ships. Now, these ships rose from hidden hangars, piloted by Earth's best fighters. General Zork, watching from his orbiting flagship, couldn't believe his eyes. Where had these ships come from? How had the humans learned to fly them so quickly? The answer was simple: human ingenuity and determination. Sarah Chen, now Admiral Chen, led the Earth fleet. She had been a science teacher before the invasion. Now, she commanded a battleship. All ships, engage. Sarah's voice crackled over the comms. Remember, we're not just fighting for Earth. We're fighting for our place in the galaxy. The space battle was fierce. Zarnaxian ships had better technology, but Earth's pilots were unpredictable. They used maneuvers no trained Zarnaxian would ever attempt, diving and weaving between enemy ships. On the ground, the fight was just as intense. In London, resistance fighters used old World War I tunnels to move undetected. In Rio de Janeiro, they turned carnival floats into mobile weapon platforms. In Mumbai, they used the crowded streets to their advantage, blending in with civilians and striking when the aliens least expected it. The Zarnaxians, who had grown complacent after months of occupation, were caught off guard by the ferocity and coordination of the human attack. But the real game-changer came from Dr. Emma Larson's team in Switzerland. They had finally cracked the secret of the Zarnaxians' energy shields. Using this knowledge, they created a device that could disrupt the alien defenses. As these devices were deployed around the world, Zarnaxian ships began falling from the sky. Their ground troops, suddenly vulnerable, found themselves outmatched by determined human fighters. General Zork, watching his invasion force crumble, made a desperate decision. He ordered all remaining ships to converge on his flagship. They would make one final, massive attack to crush the human resistance once and for all. But Sarah Chen had anticipated this move. As the Zarnaxian fleet gathered, the Earth ships surrounded them. The trap was sprung. The battle that followed was the stuff of legends. Human ships, outnumbered but not outfought, darted between the larger Zarnaxian vessels. They used the aliens' own ships as shields, causing the Zarnaxians to fire on each other in the chaos. On her bridge, Sarah watched the battle unfold. "We've got them on the run," she said. "Now, let's finish this." She gave the order, and the Earth fleet pressed its advantage. One by one, Zarnaxian ships fell or retreated. Finally, only General Zork's flagship remained. Sarah opened a communication channel. "General Zork," she said, her voice firm, "your invasion has failed. Leave our planet now, or be destroyed." For a long moment, there was silence. Then, to the cheers of every human watching, the massive Zarnaxian flagship turned and flowed into deep space. As the last alien ship disappeared from Earth's skies, celebrations erupted around the world. From the ruins of conquered cities, from hidden bases and underground bunkers, humans emerge, victorious. But Sarah Chen and the other leaders knew this was just the beginning. They had won the battle for Earth, but the war was far from over. The Galactic Council was still out there, and humanity had just announced its presence in a way that couldn't be ignored. As the sun set on the first day of Earth's freedom, Sarah looked up at the stars. "Get ready, galaxy," she said softly. "Humanity is coming." The news spread across the galaxy faster than light. Earth had defeated the Zarnaxian Empire. A planet of primitives had fought off one of the most powerful forces in known space. The impossible had happened, and the galaxy was in shock. On Galaxia Prime, the capital planet of the Galactic Council, the council chambers were in uproar. Representatives from 1,000 worlds argued and debated. How could this have happened? What did it mean for the balance of power in the galaxy? Zorn, the Zarnaxian representative, stood before the council, his blue scales pale with shame. "It was a fluke," he insisted. "The humans got lucky. They are still primitives, barely out of their Stone Age." But evidence suggested otherwise. Footage smuggled out by fleeing Zarnaxian ships showed Earth vessels using technology that should have been far beyond human capabilities. The council was divided. Some saw humans as a threat, a dangerously unpredictable species that had to be contained. Others were intrigued, seeing potential in this young, resourceful race. Meanwhile, back on Earth, humanity was taking its first steps into the galactic community. In what was once NATO headquarters in Brussels, now the United Earth Command, Admiral Sarah Chen stood before a panel of screens. Each showed the face of a resistance leader from around the world. "The Zarnaxians are gone," Sarah said, "but our fight isn't over. We've made a lot of noise. The galaxy knows we're here now, and they're going to come looking." Raj Patel, the resistance leader from India, spoke up. "So what's our next move? We can't just sit here and wait for them to come to us." "We won't," Sarah replied. "It's time for Earth to make its debut on the galactic stage." The plan they'd formed was audacious. Using the faster-than-light communication device they had built, Earth would send a message to the Galactic Council. Not a plea for recognition, but a demand. As the message was prepared, Earth's best minds worked tirelessly to advance their technology. They had reverse-engineered much of the Zarnaxian tech, but they knew they needed more to stand a chance in the larger galaxy. Dr. Emma Larson led a team studying the mysterious element in Earth's core. "If we can harness this," she told Sarah, "we'll have an advantage no other race has." Weeks passed. Earth waited, poised on the brink of a new era. And then it happened. A massive ship appeared in orbit around Earth. It was unlike anything they had seen before, sleek and shimmering, almost alive. It bore the insignia of the Galactic Council. Humans around the world held their breath. Was this the start of another invasion? Had they merely traded one alien threat for another? But the ship made no aggressive moves. Instead, It sent a message. People of Earth, we come in peace. The Galactic Council requests a meeting. In the United Earth Command, leaders debated furiously. Was this a trick? Should they trust the council that had dismissed them as expendable just months ago? Finally, a decision was reached. Earth would meet with the council's representatives, but on their terms. The meeting would take place on Earth, in neutral territory. The chosen location was Uluru, the great red rock in the heart of Australia. As the council ship landed, a delegation of Earth's leaders waited, Sarah Chen at their head. The ship's doors opened, and out stepped beings of all shapes and sizes. Some looked almost human, others were utterly alien. But all eyes were on the tall, silvery being that led them, the High Counselor of the Galactic Council itself. The High Counselor approached Sarah, its silvery form shimmering in the Australian sun. Admiral Chen, it said, its voice somehow both in her ears and in her mind. On behalf of the Galactic Council, I extend greetings to Earth. Sarah stood tall, her voice firm. And on behalf of Earth, I ask, why should we trust you? You deemed us expendable. You allowed the Zarnaxians to invade our world. The High Counselor's form rippled, perhaps the alien equivalent of discomfort. We made a mistake, it admitted. We underestimated your species. We're here to rectify that error. Sarah's eyes narrowed. How? By offering Earth full membership in the Galactic Council, the High Counselor replied. A murmur ran through the human delegation. Full membership. It was more than they had hoped for. But Sarah remained cautious. And what does this membership entail? She asked. As the High Counselor began to explain, Sarah knew this was just the beginning. Earth had won its first battle in the stars. Now, the real challenges were about to begin. The galaxy was watching, and humanity was ready to show them what Earth could do. 1 month after the meeting at Uluru, Earth faced its greatest challenge yet. The Galactic Council had agreed to hear Earth's case against the Zarnaxians. But this was more than just a trial. It was humanity's debut on the galactic stage. The trial was to be held on Nexus, a neutral planet at the heart of the galaxy. As Earth's ship approached, the crew stared in awe at the planet-wide city that glittered below them. Admiral Sarah Chen led the Earth delegation. With her were Dr. Emma Larson, Raj Patel, and a team of Earth's brightest minds. They had prepared for weeks, but Sarah knew they were stepping into unknown territory. The trial chamber was enormous, with thousands of seats filled by beings from across the galaxy. At the center was a circular platform where Earth would present its case. As Sarah stepped onto the platform, she felt the weight of every human's hopes on her shoulders. She took a deep breath and began. Esteemed members of the Galactic Council, she said, her voice strong and clear. We come before you not just to accuse the Zarnaxians of unprovoked aggression, but to challenge the very system that allowed it to happen. A murmur ran through the crowd. This was not what they expected. Sarah continued. The Council declared Earth expendable without ever speaking to us. You judged us primitive based on outdated information. We're here to show you how wrong that judgment was. She nodded to Dr. Larson, who activated a holographic display. It showed Earth's rapid technological progress, from the first moon landing to the defeat of the Zarnaxian fleet. In just a few months, Sarah said, we went from never having seen alien life to defeating one of the most powerful fleets in the galaxy. Imagine what we could achieve as part of the galactic community. The Zarnaxian representative, Zorn, jumped up. This is outrageous, he shouted. They were lucky, nothing more. They are still primitives playing with technology they don't understand. The High Counselor's voice boomed out. Order. The Earth representatives have the floor. Sarah smiled. If we're such primitives, how did we do this? She nodded to Raj, who pressed a button on his wrist. Suddenly, the lights in the chamber flickered. The holographic displays wavered. Gasps of surprise echoed around the room. We just disrupted every piece of technology in this room, Sarah explained. Non-destructively, of course. We could have done much worse. The chamber erupted in chaos. Some representatives looked afraid, others intrigued. The High Counselor called for order. "You see," Sarah continued once the noise died down, "we're not here to threaten you. We're here to join you, but as equals, not as a primitive race to be conquered or ignored." Over the next few hours, Earth presented its case. They showed evidence of the Zarnaxian invasion, the Council's dismissal of Earth, and humanity's incredible resilience and ingenuity in the face of overwhelming odds. Dr. Larson presented their findings on the unique element in Earth's core. This element, she explained, could revolutionize faster than light travel. "We're willing to share this discovery with the galaxy, but only if we have a seat at the table." As the trial went on, opinions in the chamber began to shift. Many were impressed by Earth's presentation and the potential they showed. But the Zarnaxians weren't going down without a fight. Zorn presented counter-arguments, claiming Earth was too dangerous to be allowed into the galactic community. "They defeated us through trickery and luck," he insisted. "If they join the Council, they'll upset the balance of power that has kept peace for millennia." The debate raged on. Earth's fate hung in the balance. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, a High Counselor called for a vote. Sarah and her team waited, hearts pounding, as the votes were tallied. The High Counselor stood. The chamber fell silent. By a majority decision, the High Counselor announced, "The Galactic Council finds in favor of Earth. The Zarnaxian Empire is hereby condemned for their unsanctioned invasion." And Earth, the High Counselor paused, building suspense. "Earth is granted full membership in the Galactic Council." The chamber exploded with noise. Some cheered, some protested, but none could deny the historic nature of the moment. Sarah turned to her team, tears in her eyes. "We did it," she said. "We really did it." As they left the chamber, Sarah knew this was just the beginning. Earth had won its place in the stars. Now, they had to prove they deserved it. The galaxy would never be the same again, and humanity was ready to shape its new future. 1 year had passed since Earth joined the Galactic Council. The planet that was once considered primitive now stood as a rising power in the galaxy. The changes were both exciting and challenging for humanity. On a clear night, Sarah Chen stood on the balcony of the new Earth Embassy on Galaxia Prime. The alien city sparkled below her, a constant reminder of how far they had come. "Admiring the view, Admiral?" a voice asked. Sarah turned to see Raj Patel joining her. "Ambassador Patel," she greeted with a smile. "Just thinking about how much has changed." And indeed, much had changed. Earth had quickly become a hub of innovation in the galaxy. The unique element from Earth's core, now called terramite, had revolutionized space travel. Ships could now travel faster and further than ever before. But it wasn't just in technology that Earth was making waves. Human culture, music, art, food, was spreading across the galaxy. Aliens were fascinated by the diversity and creativity of Earth's many cultures. Inside the embassy, a meeting was about to start. Representatives from various alien races had gathered to discuss a new peace treaty. Earth, with its fresh perspective and diplomatic skills, had become a key mediator in galactic conflicts. As Sarah and Raj entered the meeting room, they were greeted by a variety of alien faces. Some they now considered friends, others were still wary of the newcomers. "Let's begin," Sarah said, taking her seat at the head of the table. "We're here to discuss the ongoing conflict in the Andromeda sector." As the meeting progressed, it became clear that Earth's influence was growing. Other races listened when humans spoke, valuing their unique problem-solving abilities and out-of-the-box thinking. But not everyone was happy with Earth's rising status. In a dark corner of the galaxy, the remnants of the Zarnaxian Empire plotted their revenge. They had been humiliated by their defeat, and many Zarnaxians blamed Earth for their fall from power. Back on Earth, changes were happening too. The planet was now a melting pot of alien cultures. In New York, Tokyo, and other major cities, it wasn't uncommon to see aliens walking down the street or eating in restaurants. Schools were teaching alien languages, and Earth's universities were filled with students from across the galaxy. Humans were eagerly learning about their new galactic neighbors. But with all these changes came new challenges. Some humans feared losing Earth's identity in the vast galactic community. Others worried about the rapid technological changes and their impact on daily life. To address these concerns, world leaders had formed the Earth Unity Council. Their job was to ensure Earth presented a united front to the galaxy while preserving the diversity that made humanity unique. In a classroom in Lagos, Nigeria, a teacher named Adebayo was giving a lesson on galactic politics to a group of eager students. "Remember," he said, 50 years ago, we thought we were alone in the universe. Now, we're shaping its future. That's why what you learn here is so important." As the lesson continued, a breaking news alert flashed on the classroom's holoscreen. A human-led expedition had made first contact with a new alien race on the edge of the galaxy. The students cheered. It was a powerful reminder of humanity's new role as explorers and diplomats in the stars. But with new discoveries came new dangers. Not all alien races were friendly, and Earth had to be prepared for any threat. In a secret facility beneath the Himalayas, Dr. Emma Larson led a team developing new defensive technologies. They were determined to ensure Earth would never again be vulnerable to invasion. As the day ended on Galaxia Prime, Sarah Chen looked out at the alien sky. She thought about how far they had come and the challenges that still lay ahead. Earth was no longer just a small blue planet in an unknown corner of the galaxy. It was a rising power, a force for change, a beacon of hope for other young civilizations. The galaxy had underestimated humanity once. They wouldn't make that mistake again. Because now, humanity was reaching for the stars, ready to shape the future of the galaxy. As Sarah watched a group of human and alien children playing in a nearby park, she smiled. This was what they had fought for, a future where Earth stood tall among the stars. The story of humanity's rise was far from over. In fact, it was just beginning. And the whole galaxy was watching to see what Earth would do next.